So I don't know what I'm offering this series, but hey, this episode is going to be both El Loco and descending into absolute filth. I'm sorry, I need to get my act together. This is going to get so confusing. I'm not even sorry. Oh my god, Chacho did a custom corkscrew. What's his name? Playing his organ. Hey everybody, how's it going? So welcome to something different for the channel. Welcome to Little Treasure Cove. And if you are watching the Moomin Little Socks series, then you will know that he has invited a multitude of creators all to come together to contribute to a park that's got no DLC and no Thememakers Toolkit items. And for some weird reason, he's asked me to do it. I don't know why. But of course, I was involved in the first series and it's awesome to be asked back to the second series. So thank you so much, Moomin, if you are watching this one. Now, just to let you know, it's October and it's still quite summery here. Now, that's probably not important, right? But this isn't coming out until February or March, so I've still got Christmas and New Year and Bonfire Night and Halloween and all sorts to go. It feels really weird. So I just wanted to say hello to future me from past me in a video, because it's going to be weird. So, welcome to Little Treasure Cove. This is the park file that I've been given. It contains no spoilers. I've been told that I've been given an early version of the park, but my episode is late in the series, so you should already know what's already in here, and in fact you'll see that there's plenty of stuff that's missing, and of course you'll already see what I'm building. But this is Little Treasure Cove. The first series all centered around Western theme, so you would have seen me building a B&M Flawless in this series. In this space, actually, where the El Loco is now. And my god, this El Loco is amazing. Forgive me, I don't know yet who has created this. I haven't been told, I've just been given the park file. But this El Loco is absolutely incredible. And as I said, there's no spoilers because you would have already seen this going out on the series. But yeah, so Little Treasure Cove is a no DLC, no Thememakers Toolkit park that's going on. And Moomin has already done some of the work around here. And stuff. So this time I have got, I think this was Reconciles plot last time with the Mine Train coaster. This is the plot that I've got this time. So it's nice, long and thin, and now I have to try and fit a coaster in here. Now I did think to myself, oh, I could put a Eurofighter in this space quite happily, but unfortunately the Eurofighter is not going to work out because we've got an El Loco at the park and all of that's been destroyed. So there are other couple of things that I wanted to put in this space. I did think about putting in the like a Vekoma Blitz, so I was going to be able to use the Pioneer track type and then change it out for the Intamin Mega trains. But unfortunately, the station for the Pioneer is too big for the space. It just doesn't fit. So back to the drawing board, because all of the other compact coasters that you can have are all not compact or they are DLC. So you may be forgiven for thinking that I only ever build B&Ms for Moomin. But we've got another one. This is going to be the third one that you've seen me build for Moomin, but we've got another one. An invert for this space is absolutely perfect. I've taken all of my inspiration from Gronaland, Monster at Gronaland, where that is a super compact, amazing invert. It's new shape B&M, so it's relatively easy to profile, and it's capable of being thrown in some really tight angles and some really tall lift hills. Like, for example, the lift hill on this one, I think it's 46, 47 degrees. The new style inverts are capable of lift hills up to 60 degrees, would you believe? So, yeah, they're capable of doing that. And then we've got a really tight first drop, and it comes into an actual monster style first drop where it comes down. This pulls some proper G's down here, but the reason for it being like this is because it needs to gather some speed for the rest of the track, right? But then the beauty of the inverts is that you can throw them like into this side sort of area. You can throw them into an inversion, bring it round, and then bring the track underneath it, and you can almost have the track touching itself, and it's absolutely fine, and you're sort of like using the best use of that space. So anyway, we come around into the from the first drop into this 0G roll, and it's a new shape 0G roll, so they don't flatten off as extreme as old shape B&Ms do. They're actually quite smooth, and the exit of this one is a bit weird because it has to come underneath the lift hill, so it's not quite symmetrical. It gives a slightly different ride to it. This then comes down. I haven't done any of the train work and stuff on here, by the way, so this is all still a bit janky, but it comes down into a turnaround, which then comes into an airtime hill, and then into a corkscrew. Now, this corkscrew is custom. This is not in-game. Oh my god, Chacho did a custom corkscrew. So yeah, custom corkscrew, and then into an overbank turn. another airtime hill just to take it over the track so we can tie it all together and interlock it all together. And then, where am I? Round into another turn. And I thought, I didn't want to bring it round into another turn. I sort of snookered myself again with the design. And I thought, I'm either going to be forced into doing another turnaround or something else. So I thought, actually, let's do a dive loop. So that's what I've done. It comes into a dive loop, and then it comes into another really weird 0G roll. So I've checked out the profiling on this one. This is a valid, acceptable design of a 0G roll on an invert. It's just this bit is a bit weird. It sort of like comes in and then it would come out flat. But this is just about okay. It's just about acceptable. And then it had too much speed. So originally I had it coming over the top of this bend here and straight into the brake run. But actually it was hitting it too hot. So I needed something just to make it peter out at the top. And that's what we've got with the Helix here. And this is actually what Monster does at Gronerland. Because it's actually still got quite a lot of speed before it goes into the station. So it goes into this really high Helix and then it crawls back into the brake run. So in terms of the station itself, I need to sort of think about my design and everything, because I am competing with this. So I don't know how I'm going to do it. Like, this is just an absolute masterpiece. And all I've got is just realism and no theme maker's toolkit. So I don't know what I'm offering this series, but hey, it's fine. I think I'm going to go for either limestone or stucco pirate for this one. And I want to make a feature of this back bit here, a bit like Vampire does at Chessington. So I reckon I should just carry on building, and I'll see you in a minute just to find out what on earth I'm going to build. See you in a mo. Alright then, you guys, so this escalated very, very, very quickly. Spoiler alert, I don't like this colour scheme. I'm going to change it again. You know what they say about blue and green not being seen without a colour in between? It's definitely the case. We say nothing, by the way, about the sky and the grass. So this escalated very quickly because I was looking at the El Loco, and this is like an episode just containing the El Loco and not my coaster. Sod my coaster, let's talk about the El Loco. But what I wanted to do was to have some kind of a building that complements this El Loco, because I'm never going to compete with the absolute imagination that's come into this. So what I wanted to do was have a building at the back here that sits nicely on the El Loco sightline without actually detracting from it, because it is a bit of a spectacle of the park. And I'm sure there's going to be more, by the way, that go into this park. There's going to be absolutely beautiful builds. So I'm just hiding my piece of crap over in the back corner and pretending it's not there. But this is what I've got. I've gone for this kind of limestone castle effect. I kind of figured that this is going to be a style that's not going to be used by any of the other creators, or many of the other creators. You'll find a lot of wood. You'll find that's what she said. You'll find a lot of the sandstone brick and everything. I don't know if we're going to see much limestone, so I'm trying to choose materials and a palette of stuff that you wouldn't necessarily see. So what I'm going for here is this idea of it being a bit of a castle and a bit of a fort, and then a bit of a wooden shack on the front here. So I don't actually know where I've taken this idea from. It's an existing coaster. I don't actually remember where it's come from. I saw it quite a while ago and took a note. But yeah, so this is this idea of having this wooden shack on the front here with some fake wood and everything down here. So I just need to do a bit of touching up, a bit of recolouring of the wood and all that sort of stuff. What I'm doing here though is putting all of the roof slats in, because these are going to be visible from inside the station. So they're going to be this exposed wood. So I've just made it a bit of an interesting shape. I wanted it to be more than just a pointed roof, a pointed pitched roof, because we've got some different sightlines and stuff going along here, right? So I wanted this to be slightly different, and I think I've managed it. I quite like how this looks out, and I quite like how the wood and everything interacts with the track here. And then we've got just a porch area for the queue line to go into. Not sure whether I'm going to keep the curb or not. I haven't quite decided, because it's going to be decided by whatever comes in here, right? So whatever the theming item and everything's going to be in here. I've got a couple of ideas. I just need to play the rest out. The actual inside of the station then, as I said, I wanted to take a little bit of inspiration from Chessington World of Adventures with Vampire. So I did want to have some kind of a feature going on in here. As you know from Vampire, there's the what's his name playing the organ. What's his name playing his organ. This episode is going to be both El Loco and descending into absolute filth. I'm sorry. I need to get my act together. So, yeah, in Chessington, you've got the guy playing the organ, and it's just an amazing animatronic feature. So I wanted something similar in this space as well. And then, of course, you've got the station here. So I've just started the process of putting in all of the electric work and the actual mechanisms that make this work. So you tend to find this has got I-beams and everything on here, and then you've just got some row numbers, and I've done as much as I can in terms of making the mechanisms work. So these would be the supports and everything, and then they would be supported either side of the station here by some I-beams. I really miss Thememaker's Toolkit for stuff like this, because this is where that really comes to life, because you can use cabling and you can use all of the push points, and you can there's so much Thememaker's Toolkit stuff that I use that I now miss. But this is what we're going for inside here. So this is going to be a solid roof because of this bit up here, right? So there's going to be some detailing and everything that needs to happen in here, and then a roof that goes on. So of course this is going to be a solid roof. This is the back end of the coaster then, so I need to put some stuff in here. This is the maintenance area. I've just started my process along here of access to the maintenance area and some kind of transfer track and everything that's going on in here. In terms of using the stuff that's in the game, I've used the sci-fi cables for this one, and I think I'm just going to go off and use some of the normal other clutter that you tend to find. So there you go, there's the train coming in, and then this is the actual maintenance area itself. I need to think about this bit here. This is a bit tall, so there's quite a lot of space that's in here, so there would be some kind of escape platform or something that's along here that would help guests jump down if this train was to ever stop. And then I also need to think about how this train would be maintained, because again this would be quite far off the ground, so there would be some kind of platforms and stuff in here. So watch this space on that. I need to sort of play it out, but for now this is just a nice simple workspace. It's all forming part of the same building here, look. So all I've done is I've just put the wooden fence that's along the side here, just to separate the two. So again, this is exactly what Vampire does at Chessington, although they use a black curtain to do the job rather than a solid fence. So this works just as well. And then on the inside here, there we go. On the inside here, I've just put the paneling and stuff on the wall. So this is, oh, that was bad. There you go. I'm not even going to refilm this because you're used to this by now. So I've just put the paneling on the wall. These are just the barn doors turned the other way around. You've seen me use this technique a million times before, and in fact, I think I used it in the first in Little Rock Ridge. So just recycle what we can. So yeah, I've just used that technique. I think I need to put a fire door here. That feels like it would be a natural fire exit to it. So outside the actual ride, then this is how we're sitting on the sight line. So I've done some custom supporting. You will see. So where the supports had disappeared because of the queue line, I've put them in, so they are actually intersecting with the queue line quite nicely, and it looks okay. It looks like it should. I'm happy with this. I'm happy with how this has turned out. I have just done a slightest bit of reprofiling of some of the track. Some of it, like down here from the underneath the lift hill, is now slightly more banked than it was because it felt like that's what it needed to do. And this is now a bit more symmetrical than perhaps it was originally. So it might be really subtle. You might not spot it straight away, but it has been reprofiled. Likewise with this first drop, I've reprofiled the first drop slightly, and then I've also just had to do some slight reprofiling along here just to make the supports that I've put in make sense, because there are an awful lot of custom supports in here that I've had to add because, well, that's what happens when you constantly feed track amongst each other. The game decides to delete the supports, so you've got to put them back in. So that's what we're doing. Moomin, a little secret for you. I don't know if this is going to last for when you actually get this park back. I don't know if you're going to want to change this, but I have broken the rules slightly, and I've had to remove the path here to make these supports make sense. So you'll see. You'll see what I'm going to be doing. And then the queue line itself then is coming together quite nicely. I'm happy with this. The fencing is the western, what they call the horse ties that you get. They're upside down on each other. Actually, it's easier just for me to show you, right? Rather than, hang on a minute. Where's me? There we go. Oh, I didn't realise it was a building. Oh, great demo. So anyway, they're upside down. They're turned on top of each other. And then I've just put loads of rope in here to make a mesh. So I've taken a few cues from what I did with Little Rock Ridge and the way that that was pulled together. So I think I'm going to use this fence again, actually. I quite like how this turned out. This would work awesome in like a pirate area for a future thing. So spoiler alert, you might have already seen it, and I might be talking about it posthumously because you've already seen it. But this is the first time I did it. So you're out of chronological order, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. See what happens. And then this fence you've seen before, I used this on the log flume in Chatterlandia. I think I've used it in other parks as well. It's just a nice and simple. It's a nice and simple sort of design. It's just a couple of pillars with some rope put on there, but it just feels really quite nice and piratey. And then I just put some of the pathing stuff down. So you know I like to hide all of my paths with path covers, so this is just the stuff from the fairy tale set, and it's just nice big slabs. It just feels like this would be a big slabby area. And then actually these fences create a nice little border for you to hide any of your indiscretions when it comes to terrain and stuff. So like you can see here, this comes through, but this is going to be hidden by flowers and a few bit of scenery changes and stuff, so you're not actually going to see it. And then down here we've just put some covers on, so I wanted this to be a bit of a don't die fencing situation with a net over the top just in case something falls from the train. So that's what I've done here, and then it just goes underneath, and then that's your main collision point with path and ride. I'm in two minds as to whether to do a photo booth here or not. I've got space. I have got space in this area here. So I just need to work out whether I want to and whether I've got space to. Because it's not part of the brief, right? So putting shops and stuff in isn't part of the brief, but it's nice to add it because this ride would have that, right? And then it gives you a few extra detailing bits that you could put in. But I don't want to go OTT and overboard. And I don't know whether I'm going to use trigger objects, but the overarching theme for this is like harbourside. So this is going to be the fort that's protecting the harbour. This would be some kind of a fish store or some kind of silo. Silo? Is that that's the right word, isn't it? Grain silo. Yeah, silo. So it's going to be a harbour area. We're going to have water and rocks and stuff. And then this is going to be some kind of sea monster, like a kraken or some kind of something. I don't want to call it kraken because I've already used kraken in a previous park. But yeah, it's going to be some kind of sea monster that's attacking the harbour, and that's what this whole thing is going to be about. I promise it's going to make sense. It's going to make sense. In which case, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to get on with it. I'll see you in a bit. Alright then, you guys, so it's out with the green and it's in with the purple, and it looks way better than it did. I didn't change the colour of the supports, partly because I did too many custom supports and couldn't be bothered to change the colour. But the purple looks so much better as this coaster, especially now that it's got its full profile and it's completely done and dusted. I absolutely love how this has come together. This is exactly as I pictured it to be, actually. It's simple, it's elegant, it's realistic, and it's not competing with the old logo next door. Because this is crap in comparison. I know that people are going to say, oh, you do yourself down, blah, 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 blah. But, I mean, look at it. It's a beauty. I don't even want to know what the other creators are going to come up with. Like, I don't even know who's on this series. So it's going to be a nice surprise watching them all come through. So I'm going to start over here. This is like the hut that I put together, and it's the queue bit. I wanted to keep this nice and simple, but all I did was just put some wood and stuff effect on here, and then lined it off with a bit of concrete, and then of course it's still the limestone, and then inside here is the usual queue line. And then I just put pirate stuff on the outside and then a corrugated roof on the top, and then made it look like a harbour. So you've also, of course, got the crane and stuff on here. You saw me do this little trick in Little Rock Ridge. These are like the keep out signs that are basically the sci-fi light turned the other way around and coloured blue and orange. So it represents the keep out signs. And the bins you saw before, I've just repurposed them. They're not quite the same, but they are very similar. This is the sort of sightline that you're now getting from the queue line, by the way, and it just looks so complete and so awesome. Yes, I'm really chuffed with how this has turned out. I think it's been a while since I said that. So, yeah, the queue line comes around this way. I've just done the dock effect. So this is why this is wood. This is supposed to be like a dockland. And then I've made the dock overhang, and then it comes down into rockwork and stuff underneath. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on YouTube because it does like to pixelate and stuff. But yeah, there's rockwork and stuff on the underside here. And then I've just put some boats and stuff around here just to make it look like it's still part of an island. I did originally want to make all of this. Let me just zoom out. I did originally want to make all of this water, but actually it didn't look right because whoever's coming in here would have a bit of a difficult job if this was all water. It wouldn't explain why there's no water this way and no water this way. So actually I made it a bit of an oasis rather than water. The theming still remains the same. The idea still remains the same. It's still a dock. It's still a port. It's still like fishing and stuff. That still happens. But yeah. In this area then for the queue line, I put loads of clutter around. The dock style clutter is all in here. So you're familiar with all of this. And then a queue cover. I actually wanted a different style of queue cover. I don't actually get a chance to use these kinds of things because I tend to make my own, and I tend to do it out of the Theme Maker's Toolkit stuff and whatever, because you can make some realistic stuff out of it. But these are actually really, really good, and I think I'm going to use them again if I do a new park series. I think I'm going to use these again. So watch this space, because I said you're watching this in March, so well, February. Whenever it is. So there might probably be a series going on, so I'm probably going to use this again. Spoiler alert, chronological, you heard it here second, but first. This is going to get so confusing. I'm not even sorry. So in answer to the big conundrum about the ride photos and stuff, the answer is yes, I did put them in. I haven't put the photos and stuff on the screens here because the idea is it's no DLC and no Theme Maker's Toolkit, and it has to be console-like, and you don't have the ability to put custom images on console. So I've kept them blank, but this would be the ride photo shop. I've repurposed some of the stuff I used over in Little Rock Ridge, and I've also added some new stuff as well, and then made it piratey to make it actually look like a pirate building. And this is how it looks on the sightline. I really like it. I've covered off the normal path here as well, just with some concrete, so it looks like it's one texture path. And then I just put a brick liner along here too, just to make it sort of have a boundary, just to make it look like it's that the path ends there, and that's how it's supposed to be and how it's always supposed to be. And then of course you don't want people to avoid the ride photo, so you put a fence and stuff in here. And then because the actual path does follow this line, it comes down here and out here. Then this fence actually does make sense. And then a bit of clutter through here. Now I did also have this awkward space to fill, and I was like, what am I going to fill it with? Because I don't want to copy down the driftwood and stuff, because this just doesn't feel right. So I actually put the netting in there. It just made sense. So that's why this is a bit weird and a bit awkward. But hey, we like weird and awkward on this channel. And then coming over this way, just some more clutter going on here, and lots of foliage. And I've put some stuff in here, like rock work and smoke effects and steam effects and all of that sort of stuff, because this would be a very well-established area. This would be a good part of the park. You'd have lots of ferns and lots of things going on, and it's now got a lot of character. So if I just show you the whole ride here, it's got lots of character going on in this area. So I really like how this has turned out. Maintenance area then. This is the back-end maintenance area. Lots of the usual clutter that you would find. It's all in-game stuff. Tyres, barrels, some kind of pallet that I've thrown together myself. And then in answer to the question, yes, there would be some kind of a platform. I did some research. I did some asking around with some engineers, because I haven't left Merlin yet, so I was able to... Oh yeah, spoiler alert, I'm leaving Merlin. You might already know that. It's so weird talking to you in the future. Anyway, there would be some kind of a platform here. So there would be a fixed platform in the maintenance shed that would contain everything that you would normally have, all of the ride controls and all of the beams and stuff. And then over here you would have an escape platform. So this is what I've just put in here, escape platforms. Seeing this, I don't know if this is DLC. I'm going to need to check. If you watch Moomin's episode and it's removed, it would be DLC. I think this actually comes with the adventure pack. I need to check. Anyway, spoiler alert, because I think Moomin's episode is going to go out before this one, so I've put it in. Moomin might remove it. Anyway, so yeah, so you would have an escape platform anyway that would be put up if you needed to evacuate people from here. So yeah, this is fine. And just lots of vines and stuff along here just to give a bit of character to the side of the building. And then some custom fencing. So I've used the same principle of fencing as I did before, but I've just put it as wood. in a solid fence rather than as a mesh, and I just wanted it to be the same fence but different, so that's the principle that I'm going for here. Then of course this bit is the main exit into the ride for the maintenance area, so this would obviously have some kind of rope and meshing and stuff going on in there. And we come into the queue line, so I did keep the curb in the end. I thought actually it just makes sense because if I removed the curb, then this bit here would also have removed, and yeah, it just sees you just keep it in. Lots of clutter, lots of piratey stuff going on in this area, and then inside here as well is exactly the same. I have put a free look. There we go. I've put a custom floor down just to give it a bit of a wood effect, and then lots and lots and lots of stuff that's going on around here. So lots of the steering wheels and the rope and everything piratey that you could possibly imagine. And of course, music. There is music. This is the feature that I wanted to make then of the area. I wasn't going to do anything elaborate as elaborate as the organ playing guy, but lots of piratey stuff and lots of smoke effects, and there's also light effects here as well. So I've added those. In. Let me show you actually. PM. There you go. Lots of light effects just to give it a bit of character and a bit of soul going on. Let's change it back to AM. There we go. And then back to free look. And then over this side, then I have just continued the theme of kitting everything out with all of the equipment and stuff. And you've got the spots on the... I love doing this. This is so much fun. All the spots on the queue lines. And then the other side, you've got all of the baggage holds and the exit signs and all of that sort of stuff. And up here you've got our pirate guy. He's not particularly bothered about operating the ride, but you've got the push points. So this is the best you're going to be able to do with the push points. They are the brackets for the TV screens. Turn the other side, and then the fairy lights, one coloured red, one coloured green, and then hidden in. So that's the best you're going to be able to get with push points. And then of course you've got these for the ride console panel as well. These are just the time machines. The ride cam time machines. They are awesome for this kind of thing. It just gives the idea of it being station clutter, right? So it just works. It works as it needs to. And of course you just put a bin or two, and then there you go. You have a fully kitted out station. There's all of the exposed beams and stuff. It looks really, really nice in here. And because it's a two-tone, or it's a two-part build where you've got the shed and you've got the actual limestone building, it comes together really, really, really nicely. So I'm chuffed. And then this is how that shed looks when it's completed. So I've just recolored all of the wood, spun some of them around so they're not all symmetrical and the same shape and stuff. So just to give it a bit of character, lined it all off with pirate stuff, and then across the top here I've used the western plank for the roof, and then the driftwood and stuff along here. So I'm really chuffed with how this has turned out. It's a bit difficult to get a decent angle as well because of all the foliage and stuff that we've got going around, but it just finishes off this area just nicely. I could have just made it the fort and called it square, but I think I want to start experimenting with not doing blocky square builds. Like there are buildings and stuff out there that will have all sorts of undulations and all sorts of nuances going on, and that's kind of been driven by this, right? Where you go, actually, there's nothing square about this. But even when you look back at Moomin stuff along here, like even though they may be boxes and they may be square, they're not actually completely square and boxy. There's loads of like different bits of character to the buildings and stuff. So I think it's only fair and only right that actually I start to do that myself. So there you go. And then yeah, this was the secret that I told you about. I had to move the terrain just to make this bit work, but it's fine. You can't see it. Blink and you might miss it. So here it is then. It has no name at the moment. It's probably going to be called something like Tornado or Tsunami or Vortex or Poseidon or something like that. I'll let Moomin decide what the name is. I haven't got the inspiration to give it a name, unfortunately. But this is it from the beginning. Guys, thank you so much for getting to the end of this episode. Moomin, thank you for inviting me back for Series 2. This was so much fun to build. And the new style B&M inverts that are in a really short, really compact space are so much fun to build. This was very different to build than it was for Kamunga in Chacholandia. So yeah, thank you so much for inviting me along. Thank you so much for getting to the end of the episode. I think I'm going to start a new park series, but by the time you hear me telling you I started a new park series, we're probably going to be partway through a park series. So I hope you're enjoying the park series. I'll see you all soon. Let's go for a ride. Take care, guys. Bye-bye. Guys, just before we go for a ride, I just wanted to clear up the whole is it DLC, is it not DLC thing. No, it isn't. This is the piece I've used, and you can see in the menu, it's main game. So we are good to go. Panic over.